of November 2023, and it's a Monday. Hoping that you've already gotten your Monday moves or moods or vibes on, because it is a fresh week and we are starting it off on this beautiful drizzling morning. For those that are on your way, I think you noticed there were a little bit of drizzles. Of course, it's 3 minutes past 7 a.m. and we're always here from Monday to Friday, kicking it every morning for you from 7 a.m. till 9:55 a.m. and of course having a bunch of discussions and of course very many interviews coming in on different topics that we always have for the day. And of course, as you know, we're here to drive your business every now and again here in SmartIme's business, here in Smart24 TV. And of course, you can catch us live on our social media platforms, on YouTube, Smart24 TV now. You can go on YouTube and Smart24 TV. Well, of course, today we have very interesting. I hope your weekend actually went well. Regardless of whatever transpired, you have to, know that for those that always have a weekend off, today, get yourself together, get your everything together, and get in the mood for the day, and that is Monday. Well, of course, today we're going to be looking at, we've been having, we saw Kenya doing it, having a visa-free entry for all African countries. So, and on that note, that brings us to today's discussion, today's topic, the importance of promoting African trade. Well, of course, it is actually good because since last year, end of last year, and of course beginning of this year, even the whole of this year, the president of Kenya has been calling for intra-African trade, African integration, African free trade area. So definitely that brings us to the conversation of around. Now we saw Rwanda coming in that story, I'll be giving you that story later on in the East African news. Also, Rwanda is planning to have a visa-free entry in their country, for all African countries. And this is all hitting around trade within Africa. We want to see Africans trade amongst themselves freely. Okay, but of course here we see that the state of trade in Africa is promising, and of course despite accounting for only 2.9% of global production and 2.6% of global trade, Africa is home to 16.3% of the world's population and possesses significant economic potential. Now, of course, the African Continental Free Trade Area, the world's largest free trade area. Imagine Africa, the world's largest free trade area, has a potential to boost intra-African trade by 33%, and of course cut the continent's trade deficit by 51%. So if at all we started trading amongst each other, there's a possibility that we could cut our deficit by 51%. That means we won't have to go borrowing from the Western powers, or maybe Asia or China, whatever it is. We shall be trading within ourselves, bring back the resources to ourselves. So with that, if Kenya has aluminium, we give them gold. If Nigeria has fish, we give them milk. So it's gonna be that is our conversation today, rotating around that. How are we gonna harness trade within Africa amongst ourselves so that we can exchange something for something? And of course, however, we've been having a lot of challenges, yes, when it comes to high trade costs. And of course, the costs at the border points in Africa are the highest in the world. You've seen when you're crossing over to, when you're taking your goods, there's the requirements, there's a fee that you have to pay. So that is one of the hindrances. And of course, they are high. They're high, and of course, it's affecting traders. They have complaints. And then of course we have poor infrastructure. The roads are devastating for those that do have trucks moving in. So definitely some are delayed a bit due to the traffic in the different countries. Then we have insufficient customs procedures. Yeah, we've seen the different border points. The customs are crazy. The long procedures, long queues, some being halted for not having requirements. So it's a lot of of chaos that happens there. And of course, the high tariffs. I've seen, I've gone to different conferences, people are complaining about the high tariffs that are hindering trade. Okay, that example was given in East Africa, but I believe even across East Africa, it's all the same. Now, of course, we have limited intra-African trade, something that the president of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, has been calling for. And of course, him starting off the visa-free entry for all African countries, that could be a good start. He has been advocating for it, and he has started the game. Now, of course, the intra-African trade accounts for 15.4% of total African trade, compared to 69% in Europe and 59% in Asia. Now, if we only cooperate, and understand the importance of intra-African trade, definitely we have potential when it comes to that. Now, of course, this is due to the part of augmentation of African market into many small isolated economies. So we have very small isolated economies. We have every country has its own challenges when it comes to trade. So definitely that is one of the factors that are hindering this trade in Africa, for us to progress in Africa. And of course, we have lack of diversification. African exports are highly concentrated in a few commodities such as oil, minerals, and agricultural produce. Yes, we are not diverse. We're not diverse. We're only, if you see, you realize that if you look at East Africa, most of us rely on agricultural produce and maybe a little bit of minerals. Oil, not so much really. Oil, not so much. But then the concentration is on agricultural produce, because now that is what we think we can offer for now. Yeah. So we have to be diverse. We have to also have those chips that we have to be exporting as well, so that means we have to go from the we've been advocating for we have to do with raw materials. Let's focus on the final products that put it on the market. If you have aluminum, let's get something to use aluminum for, so that we can also export it when it's already processed, done. If it's in chips, let's do that so that we have exportation. Let's be diverse. Let's think outside the box. Let's have something that we can offer, that we have in plenty, that we can be known for. Now, of course, despite all that negativity, the different challenges that we've been facing when it comes to trade in Africa, there are a number of positive trends in the African trade. We're seeing the rising of trade volumes. The intra-African trade has been growing in the recent years and is expected to grow in the future. Yes, it has been growing. We are seeing it grow. We are seeing it somewhere this year. So we're expecting at the end, maybe come 2025, at least we are all moving in and out of, with visa-free in Africa, in most of African countries. So that actually helps eases up on trade between us. Now, of course, we have seen increasing investment in infrastructure. And of course, African countries are investing heavily in infrastructure, which will reduce trade costs. So please have infrastructure development so that you can ease up trade within the different states or the different countries, because once you have poor infrastructure, there is delay. Yeah, there is delay in transportation. Yeah, so definitely we have progressed. Not only then we have air cargo, we have water transport. So there is a lot that we have really improved. The African Continental Free Trade Area is expected to improve intra-African trade and investment and help in diversifying Africa's export. Well, of course, that is it for this, and of course, looking at the overview of the current state of trade in Africa, and we are going to progress at only certain, how much? 33%. 33%. We're hoping that by 2030 we are at almost 60%, and we can really depend and rely on ourselves within Africa. You know, we have the African Development Bank, there's a lot of banking institutions that can be available for us to, you know, go on and seek loans, and, you know, instead of, the more we seek loans out there, the more issues that we get. And of course, that is it for now. 13 minutes past 7 a.m. And of course, today we're going to be talking about the importance of promoting African trade. How is trade going on? I know most traders have a lot of complaints when it comes to the high tariffs, when it comes to the customs. You know, there is a lot of squeezing that happens along the border points right there. But of course, marketing as well. So definitely more conversations and more experts going to be coming in here to dissect and dive deeper in issues regarding African trade. Well, of course, right about now, there's a lot that has happened over the weekend, Now we're going to look at what happened in the press. Well, of course, I have a Daily Monitor, I have the New Vision, and I have the East African. So really, I have all the papers at my disposal today. And of course, Kagezi case, and of course, here we see key suspects arrested. President Museveni speaks out on oil import deal. Well, of course, here police impound luxury cars suspected stolen from the UK. Well, and that is it for the New Vision, and we shall get to see how the president spoke about the oil import deal. Now, of course, making headlines in the Daily Monitor, well, of course, director arrested over defiling, this is quite a tragedy, so defiling P7 pupils. Well, get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor if you want to see how justice was brought to book. Now, 5 government officials in hot water for leaving drugs in rain. More to that when you grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. And of course, Museveni's plan to lower costs of fuel, those that have been crying of fuel, high costs, high prices. Well, page 6 on the Daily Monitor so that you can have more and more on what is happening. Well, looking at the East African, how Uganda AGOA ban will impact the East African community. Well, and of course, why Kenya got cut off a Kampala oil supply deal. That and more when you get yourself a copy of the East African. And of course, Airtel plans a plan for its business, African business. And of course, here's China's new leading philosophy. Well, a lot more in the paper. Well, of course, let's turn our eyes to page 6, which is quite interesting, about the president planning to lower the costs of fuel. That is what most Ugandans, those that have vehicles, would want to know. Now, of course, the president of Uganda has agreed to the proposal by the government to empower the state-owned Uganda National Company, UNOC. You know, there's been sagas about UNOC and someone who wanted to sell our company to take over the importation of all petroleum products into the country. Well, of course, UNOC under the proposed plan will, starting January 2024, exclusively source all petroleum products from Swiss-based Vitol, Swiss-based Dutch global company and commodity giant, and then sell to more than 40 oil marketing companies in the country. So UNOC will be the sole distributor, so to be selling to different petroleum companies that you see around Kampala. Well, of course, he said here, a whole country buying from middlemen in Kenya or anywhere else. Okay, well, of course, get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. And of course, Kenyan oil and marketing companies, for example, he said a few months ago sold a ton of diesel to Ugandan importers. at $118. That is approximately to 444,000 compared to $83 of $83 charged by bulk suppliers or refiners. And of course, petrol was at 97. That is Kenya. That is Kenya, comparing Kenya and other suppliers. Well, petrol was at $97.5. That is approximately 367,000 Ugandan shillings per ton compared to 61.5. That is 232,000 of refiners and bulk suppliers. Well, Harrison was at $114. That is approximately to 429,000 Ugandan shillings per ton compared to 79. So that means you're going to opt for other suppliers other than Kenya. That is why it's the big headline here, why Kenya got cut off Kampala oil supply deal. So all things are rotating around oil here in Uganda. Yes. Well, of course, in another news, a minister speaks on illegal use of Katonga Bridge by trucks. Oh my goodness. So it is illegal for trucks to be driving along the Katonga Bridge. I thought it was really ready for movement. Now, the Minister of Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Wamala, said government is aware of the personnel who extort money from heavy truck drivers and allow them to use the damaged River Katonga and River Sezibwa bridges at night. So there's a lot going on. People are using this as to their advantage. So for you to access the Katonga bridge, for those that have been passing, it has been giving something for exchange, giving something for each exchange. Well, of course, right about now we are into the traffic updates. As you can see, we are at the access road. Those that are going into, those that are coming in from Garden City, those that are coming in from Wandegea, as you're going into that side of Mutinda, Bwegere, Chisasi, Nakawa, you know, that is the road that you could be using on your left. Well, on your right, you're going, that is when you're going to the city center, and then that side all the way going in from Muyenga, going into Chibuli, yeah, that side. Well, it is a Monday, and of course, traffic is there. People are really hyped up on a Monday, being the 6th. We are just a few days into the month, so definitely you have to be a little bit busy and getting on the road. And of course, is it today? We're expecting PLE to kickstart students even this week. Well, that is it. Well, of course, and we can see traffic has been halted. And of course, anytime soon, vehicles coming in from Nakawa, coming in from where you get it, coming in from Nadeka, all that side, Mukono, Ginger Road, to be specific. Yeah. So therefore, for those that border riders, that actually made it easier. For those that always want to be on time, you can grab yourself a border, and you can, you can reach on time. Well, of course, like I told you, it had drizzled. That is why you're seeing a little bit of some reflection right there, because it drizzled earlier, a few minutes ago. And of course, those that are coming in from, oh my goodness, traffic. People are coming in from Namugongo, people are coming in from Mukono, people are coming in from Jinja. They had to wake up in the morning. You will be surprised at how many people come from Jinja on a daily to work in Kampala. Those coming in from Golobi, those that are coming in from Chiwatule. I mean, there's a lot, industrial area, so there is a lot of cars that come in from that side. And of course, being most of those residential areas, Nakawa, Tinda, Bukono, yes, so I think that is why there's a bit of traffic right there. Well, of course, if we could also have a look at those that are coming in from the side of, yes, all that side. well, you can see that those are coming in from Garden City, Wandegea, yes, Wandegea, Mulago, not a lot of vehicles really do coming in from that side. Well, maybe they could be going to Muyenga, maybe they could be going to Chibuli, maybe they could be going, depending on where your working area, but not so much, except maybe, I don't know why, midday, a lot of vehicles, crossing over till that. So most of them are usually trucks going to that side of Nakawa, maybe proceeding to Mukono or Ginger as well. But today so far not so bad. Traffic, there is no traffic officer, but then there is a little bit of order on the road. So that is it for the traffic updates today. Well, if you're going into the city center, no, and you're coming in from Mukono all that way, just know you're gonna be caught up a little bit. 4 to 5 minutes of traffic, and then you can get moving. But those that want faster spins, borders are there for you, but then you have to be careful on the road. If you have any conveniences on the road, please tell the guy, you know what, take it easy, I'm not in a rush. Because if there is no order, there is a way we are reckless. There is recklessness on the road, so be careful with your life. So definitely that is it for the traffic. Those that are coming in from the city center, not so much, not so much people in the morning hours. There is no heavy traffic from the city center really. Well, of course, it's 25 minutes past 7 a.m. and of course you're watching, that is what is happening along the access road. Yes, so please get yourself started, regardless, if you know you have to be at work by 8 a.m. I believe you have to be up by 5:30, 6, if you want to be there on time. Well, of course, 25 minutes past 7 a.m. I'm still your host, Masik's team, and we're still discussing topics regarding how we can promote African trade. As a trader out there, what are some of the challenges that you feel can be addressed? You have been addressing these challenges, but don't you think we need to have, we've been seeing different committees, the East African Business Council. How much have they done to make sure that there is fairness when it comes to trade among us, not only in East Africa, but then also in Africa? Well, the high tariffs, the high poor infrastructure, the procedures of the customs, well, that and all, we are predicting actually for the future. So by 2030, we want to see a different Africa. We want to see cooperation. We want to be borrowing among ourselves. So definitely that is what we're calling for. Well, of course, Smart means business goes for a short breather, but of course, coming up, we have East African and international business news. Please don't stick around. Take a cup of water, take a cup of some tea to warm yourself out. It's a cool chill morning. Anyway, we shall be right back, so please don't go away.